And I think it is very misunderstood.
Say more. How do you think people misunderstand it?
Well, when I first read it, I went, oh no, the basis of all codependency. Turn the other cheek. What the heck? How do I make sense of this? Welcome to Laughing.Mystics, an unorthodox journey through the liturgical year with Laura Lewis-Barr and Marci Madary.
I'm Marci Madary, and I am a church lady. I have worked in ministry of one kind or another my entire professional life. I have my doctorate in theology and spirituality, and I love connecting with people and walking with them on their journey.
I'm Laura Lewis-Barr, and what I'm passionate about is studying symbolic language. Happy seventh Sunday in ordinary time.
It's so funny. Ordinary time makes it sound boring, but really,
It does.
it's not.
Why do they use that word?
Because it's regular time, that ordinal.
Seventh Sunday in the kingdom of heaven is now time. I want that instead.
Okay, all right, then let's do that.
Okay. So, our first reading is from 1 Samuel 26. In those days, Saul went down to the desert of Ziph with 3,000 picked men of Israel to search for David in the desert of Ziph. So David and Abishai went among Saul's soldiers by night and found Saul lying asleep within the barricade, with his spear thrust into the ground at his head, and Abner and his men sleeping around him. Abishai whispered to David, "God has delivered your enemy into your grasp this day. Let me nail him to the ground with one thrust on the spear. I will not need a second thrust." But David said to Abishai, "Do not harm him, for who can lay hands on the Lord's anointed and remain unpunished?" So David took the spear and the water jug from their place at Saul's head, and they got away without anyone seeing or knowing or awakening. All remained asleep because the Lord had put them into a deep slumber. Going across to an opposite slope, David stood on a remote hilltop at a great distance from Abner, son of Ner, and the troops. He said, "Here is the king's spear. Let an attendant come over to get it. The Lord will reward each man for his justice and faithfulness. Today, though the Lord delivered you into my grasp, I would not harm the Lord's anointed."
Wow. So the book of Samuel is part of the historical books in the Bible, and we're hearing the story, right, of Saul, who was anointed by Samuel initially and messed up a little, and so we had to have a do-over with David. But just to kind of hear the story of David, because I think, because of David's compassion, he is the hero. It's not because of his might, it's because of his compassion and his respect for God.
He is advocating nonviolence in a culture that is nothing but eye for an eye. And I think to myself, I know that Saul was a special guy, but we're all God's anointed, so it's a real argument for nonviolence.
Well, and especially since Saul and 3,000 men are searching for David. They're after him.
Yeah.
And so in some ways, it would have made David's life really easy and simple just to kill Saul.
Right.
Like then it's done and no one's chasing me and I can just assume that throne.
And David doesn't even have to do it. He's got this buddy who's going to do it.
Right, right. And yet he stops him. I love it at the end, where he's, on this remote hilltop at a great distance and says, so he's safe, but here's the king's spear. So I was that close. I have the king's spear.
Right.
So to point out that I could have and chose not to.
Right. Because Saul was afraid of David. I think Saul projected a lot onto David.
Right.
And I love the way the Old Testament always says God is doing things, like God put them into a deep slumber in order to explain how David could do what he did.
God's a partner.
Ah.
God's an actor and present and like you said, doing things and changing things.
Yeah. But, and we've said this before, it feels like it's so easy to rationalize anything, like Abishai does here. God has delivered you, so you got him. God brought him to you. Now let's kill him. God, it's because God did it. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous way of thinking to me, to say God did this and God did that, and that's my justification.
Right. Rather than taking personal responsibility.
Yeah.
I just appreciate Abishai being maybe in some ways a part of David. I appreciate Abishai being a part of David in the sense that maybe Abishai is saying and doing what a part of David wants to do.
Nice.
Right? So it's separated for the sake of the story, and it keeps David cleaner.
Yeah.
More spectacular. And yet, for myself, that's the inner dialogue. I could kill him.
Yeah.
Right? And then the better part of me, the better angels of my nature, bring me to a different place.
Right.
But that dialogue is real and exists, and it's within all of us.
Right. So I would like to hack away at this all remained asleep because the Lord had put them into a deep slumber. And sleep is such a great metaphor, of course, for not being awake psychologically, spiritually, being unconscious of myself. God made them all unconscious toward David. David wasn't seen by them, and we're saying God was responsible for that. I don't know. To me, there's something important here, and
You bring up really good questions. I've always read that as God's on David's side.
Right.
And helping out the poor, helping out those who are outnumbered and weak. And not that David was weak, but the ones that society puts on the outside, God is always on their side.
So if I go earlier and Saul lying asleep, Saul is asleep. And so then I can say, okay, this whole phenomenon of the Saul character, who is the one that was anointed that went asleep, the one that was anointed that no longer hears God's voice, no longer does what God wants, or we can say it psychologically, no longer lives according to his inner higher self. And so everything around him also, it's like that fairy tale Sleeping Beauty. Everybody's asleep. The whole,
Right.
and that makes me think about our world and our culture and like corporations that are completely asleep to the climate, to the poor. The whole system is asleep. And I love this idea now as I play with it because David, who slew Goliath, who's like the little man, does it again. He doesn't slay Saul, but he gets close enough. So that's what I want in our world is a lot of Davids who can infiltrate the system that sleeps to the needs of the world.
We sure could use a David.
Yeah, a lot of them.
And in this story, for the storytelling, I also think that the Saul and the sleep of everyone else is a foil. It makes David even more amazing
Yeah,
because he's awake. David's awake.
right,
And so it's the contrast
right,
that adds strength to that.
right. Strength to the story and strength to this, seeing the story in a symbolic way.
Well, the second reading, it is from 1 Corinthians. Sisters and brothers, it is written, the first man, Adam, became a living being, and the last Adam was a life-giving spirit. But the spiritual was not the first, rather the natural, and then the spiritual. The first man was from the earth, earthly, the second man from heaven. As was the earthly one, so also are the earthly. And as is the heavenly one, so also are the heavenly. Just as we have borne the image of the earthly one, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly one.
So, what do you think?
Well, right, comparison between Jesus as the firstborn of this new age to Adam as the firstborn of the old age.
Yeah,
And that we, are also born in the image of Jesus, right? That adopted sons and daughters.
I got trippy about the as above, so below idea of this reading. And I have a little quote from Jung. Astrology represents the sum of all the psychological knowledge of antiquity. So, astrology and this idea of the macrocosm and the microcosm, above, so below, was a part of the lives of the people who wrote the scriptures. The sum of all the psychological knowledge of antiquity. So I see that in this reading. I see this idea of so above, so below. And I love it. So the way it impacts me in my life is that this idea of offering up my suffering for the world, the doing ritual to change the world, this the mass, this microcosm for the macrocosm. The three astrologers in the Christmas story. Our struggles reflect the cosmic struggle. And our life is important as part of that cosmic struggle.
That's trippy, as you would say.
Yeah. And for me, that's what Paul is, in addition to what you said, is reflecting on here, that, everything that's happening on earth is connected to another realm. And that idea changes everything, as opposed to, I'm just in my life, and what does my life really matter? So Jung went to Taos, New Mexico, and he met Native Americans there who, I don't remember what tribe, the Iroquois? Anyway, they believed, their religion believed that they had to dance they had to do some rituals. I think dance was part of it, where they helped the sun cross the sky. And Jung said, we can scoff at such a ridiculous idea. It's not scientific, blah, blah. But the people had such an intense feeling of the importance and meaning of their lives because they helped the sun do its job. And modern people have lost that sense of meaning. And so all the things I was rattling off about the Mass or my own suffering or how I contribute in a cosmic way to the world. That's what this reading, I'm just like spiraling around it. I don't want to go on to the next reading yet because what would life be like if we all really believed that we are helping transform the world, as Teilhard also believed?
Right. Well, it's looking at those groups of men and women who are cloistered, set aside, and they spend their life praying for the world. And, that can be looked at in one lens as they are wasting their life.
Mm-hmm.
And in another way, they are changing the world.
Yeah.
So which is real?
Yeah.
And I love how you said that, like what is above is below. And that I cannot underestimate the power of prayer.
Yeah.
And intention. And because my life is a part of that too. And the goodness that I give off, I don't understand how far that can reach. And likewise, the negativity and anger that I exude reaches a long ways too.
Yeah. Yeah. I just learned a little more about Julian of Norwich.
Oh, love her.
Yeah. And I know you know this, but I just learned that she became an anchorite, and these anchorites are sealed in to this tiny little space, and it becomes their burial space. They're literally sealed in, and that Julian's writings weren't even known for hundreds of years. And she's changed the world from that little tiny cloistered, worse than a cloister, anchorite space that she never left.
Right, with her 3 windows. A window into the chapel that this little space was connected to, so she could participate in the Mass. A window where people brought her food and, she could get rid of her waste.
Mm-hmm.
And then one window where people would come and talk to her.
Yeah.
Seek her wisdom.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Julian isn't her name even.
Right.
So this woman, we don't know her real name, who lived in this tiny space, as you said, has changed the world and continues to open hearts and bring people into God.
Yeah, we talked about her in a book group this past week, and all shall be well. She's not saying all is well. All shall be well. And I love it.
Right. Well, and the plague was going on.
Right.
During her lifetime. And that what precedes that is even though sin exists in the world, all shall be well. So she isn't making light. She's acknowledging the reality of sin and suffering. And still, all shall be well.
Yeah. A true mystic. A true mystic. Yeah.
Love her. One of her favorite quotes, it's also attributed to Meister Eckhart, so who knows, but is, between me and God, there is no between. Isn't that great?
I love it.
Between me and God, there is no between. You should move on to the gospel. Huh?
All right. I want to stay with this reading. I'm liking you, Paul. I'm liking you. Okay.
All right. This is, again, from the Gospel of Luke, since we are in cycle C in the lectionary. So this is Luke chapter 6. Jesus said to his disciples, "To you who hear I say, love your enemies and do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you and pray for those who mistreat you. To the person who strikes you on one cheek, offer the other one as well. And from the person who takes your cloak, do not withhold even your tunic. Give to everyone who asks, and from the one who takes what is yours, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. For if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do the same."
If you lend money to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners and get back the same amount. But rather, love your enemies and do good to them, and lend expecting nothing back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High. For he himself is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and gifts will be given to you, a good measure, packed together, shaken down, and overflowing will be poured into your lap. For the measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you. Wow. We could just spend forever on this reading.
Wow. Because this is the essence of the Christian message.
And I think it is very misunderstood.
Say more. How do you think people misunderstand it?
Well, when I first read it, I went, oh no, the basis of all codependency, turn the other cheek. What the heck? How do I make sense of this?
Mm-hmm.
And I found some scholarship on it. You might know this, Marci, already, but I found it from Reverend Sherry Crompton of the Episcopal Church of the Trinity, and she's online. Her sermon is online. And so do you know about the turn the other cheek?
Mm-hmm. Say more so our listeners can hear it. But yes.
So this Reverend Crompton said that for people in Jesus's time to be hit on the left cheek meant that the person in charge, the husband against the wife, slave owner against the slave, would backhand you.
Mm-hmm.
And to turn the other cheek meant to stand your ground and to make the aggressor, if they were going to keep hitting you, to hit you as an equal.
Mm-hmm.
To hit you with the fist, not the backhand, because no longer can they backhand you if you turn. And so what Jesus is not advocating being abused.
No.
Because that was important for me to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my youth, I really took this reading to be abused. And I allowed myself to be, and that was not cool.
No.
But that Jesus is advocating something much more profound, which is we're not going to continue the cycle of aggression.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to stand our ground, and we are going to enter into a completely third way of interacting with evil, as Gandhi took it and as Martin Luther King took it, that we're not just accepting abuse, we are challenging the abuse in a completely new way.
Right, right. It makes me think of the civil rights movement and the brave people who stood their ground.
Yes.
Right? They did not retaliate but they stood their ground. And that made all the difference.
Yeah.
That changed history.
Yeah.
That bravery to stand your ground. And I think it's really important for all those listening. Jesus is not advocating for abuse. That's never what God wants for any of us.
Right. But I think a surface reading of this can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then also that, when someone is a tyrant, if I just give that tyrant anger, it actually keeps the tyrant in that place.
Yeah.
It strengthens the tyrant.
Right.
If I offer the tyrant love and compassion, that's what changes and transforms.
Right. And I just have to say in this moment of this conversation that maybe we can all think about this in the political divide we're in. Because there is no love shared from either side to the other, it feels like. And what would it be like if genuine compassion was shared from one side to the other?
It makes all the difference. It's, it's like David and not killing Samuel. Saul, excuse me, not killing Saul. That was the strength. That's the real strength.
Right.
So to stand up to the bully and yet not be goaded into that same behavior is the real strength.
Right. We're breaking the cycle of evil. We're actually, like, Jesus gives us a way to break the cycle. And he shows us the way. I mean, he just doesn't tell us the way.
He lives this.
Right. So I want to restate something you just said because I think it's worth it. This idea that being against something only creates more of it, which is trippy.
And it's not just being against, it's being angry or hateful. Like I can be against injustice and yet loving and compassionate. That's transformative.
Right. I guess I mean, yeah, this fighting something can strengthen it, which is what you said. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in thinking about, major issues of justice in the world, how do I respond nonviolently and yet strongly? I think of the show Les Mis, right? In the beginning of that, the man came and stole the silver from the priest or the pastor who took him in. And the pastor had a moment where he could have judged the person and he said, no, you forgot these other things. Here you go. And that's what changed the thief's life. That's what changed him. It was the mercy that changed him. It wasn't judgment that changes people. It's mercy.
Right. And the last part of this gospel, stop judging and you will not be judged. All of these things that are said, stop condemning and you will not be condemned, forgive and you will be forgiven. This is just the truth about our inner life. I mean, it's true about the outer, but it's really true about the inner. Like, part of the reason I think I might get stuck or other people might get stuck is I can't stop judging because I judge that in myself. I have to stop judging that in myself, and then I can be free. I guess they go together.
Yes. The unforgiveness I hold for myself is what I share with others.
Right.
It's the same measure.
Right.
Yeah. You're right. And if I can somehow live a gracious and loving life, it is what I experience too.
Right. So the angry God that can be worshipped, that I might worship, only sets me up to be angry. That inner God that's judging everything in the inside is also judging everything on the outside. And that's why Jesus was so amazing, is he took that paradigm and turned it inside out.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the loving. If you love only those who love you, what credit is that? It's, The Sopranos. The TV show of mobsters, right? Who were loving to their family,
Yeah.
sort of, but not loving to others.
Yeah.
It's a pretty extreme example.
Right. Well, let me jump to, like, he tells us all these things we should be doing, like let's lend without expectation, and our reward will be great. And I think the ultimate reward is the freedom that I feel inside when I'm not working from that transactional place, but I'm working from unconditional love. Unconditional love is the reward. It's not the price. It's the reward. And I don't know, for you, Marci, I'm imagining this is true for myself. I have memories of being in a place of unconditional love, and it's so great for my body and my mind. It feels amazing to not be defending myself, to not be transactional. And I'm experiencing that with little Reggie right now, just loving him unconditionally, even though he doesn't love me back, I think, sometimes. And loving other people that I feel hurt by, that have hurt me, and the grace to find that space in myself. It's really my reward. It's not their reward.
Right, because my heart's being changed and I don't have to hold on to that anger and bitterness. And I want to go back to the first reading. David goes to a safe space.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Before he says, I have the sword.
Right.
Okay, so we can love those who persecute us from a distance.
Yeah.
We don't have to stay and be persecuted.
Right. Right.
We can love our enemies from a distance, and that's okay.
Right.
We don't have to put ourselves in harm's way.
Right. It's interesting because if someone strikes me on the left cheek, I'm there. I'm in it. I have to make a decision, and I could run away. I mean, that might be appropriate, but I guess, like, when you're in the thick of battle, he's giving one piece of advice, and when you're in another situation, there's another piece of advice.
Yes, the young people at the counter, the young Black people at the counter who refused to leave.
Right.
And just got beat up.
Right.
And then in that moment, it is clear who's the sinner, whose fault it is, right? As you started in talking about with this gospel, forcing someone to hit you with their backhand just demonstrates, right? Or with their fist. It demonstrates who is righteous and who's unrighteous.
Right. And I think about the internal state that one has when what I have, if I'm the aggressor, how that feels internally versus how does it feel internally when I don't need to do that. Like, I just keep coming back to the joy, the reward of that freedom from hate. Like, hate is its own punishment.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hate is its own punishment.
I think psychologically it's true. And
Mhm.
I also believe that, and I think Ilia Delio might be able to tell us about this, and other scientists might be able to tell us that our bodies are actually probably made to function from a loving place. And it's the best for our immune system. That reward Jesus talks about, I have to go there because if I take it literally, I'm like, well, I don't feel rewarded and I don't see goodness rewarded on the outside. But on the inside, I think it is.
Right, in who I am, and that I feel more at peace. I feel stronger. I feel more settled.
Yeah.
And I don't have to hold on to the anger and the bitterness
Yeah.
and the unforgiveness.
That is the ultimate reward.
Mm-hmm.
To have that peace that goes beyond understanding the kingdom of God. I guess the last thing I want to say is just why don't the churches take this seriously? Why doesn't organized religion seem to make this the centerpiece? It should be. And it's hard. It's really hard. And
It is really hard. This is a really hard reading. And I think sometimes preachers get afraid of this reading. If they preach it, nobody will come back the next week.
yeah, and I guess the opposite of love is fear, not anger. And we need to do some readings about fear because Jesus is telling me what to do here. Well, maybe the first reading helps me, like what you were saying, like find a way to feel safe in doing the love. Like the love is the thing to do. Find a way to do it from a safe place. Yeah, that's great.
Unless, as you said, if it comes and finds you,
Yeah,
right? That's a different situation.
right.
How do I stand strong in who I am and in the love of God?
Yeah, I think for myself, there's often fear is an anticipation, not the, like in the event of something, I'm not afraid, I'm in it. But I spend too much time being afraid of the what if. And I think that is the challenge for me. And I think I see it for others too.
And it is the cruelty, right? The waiting to make somebody wait. The anticipation of raids for migrants. The anticipation is so fearful. That's what I see as cruelty.
Right.
It, unfortunately, the law does not favor the poor and those who speak a different language than English.
Right. It's a great example. I also think about just the anticipation of talking to a neighbor who has a different political belief than I have and what will happen in that conversation. What will happen if I try to stand up to a government official who wants to take somebody away?
Right.
Like there's a lot of anticipation, I think, about how do we deal with each other right now.
Yes, in anticipation. I have a friend whose child is gender non-binary, and the fear that my friend has, and wants to make sure their child has a passport so they can leave the country if they need to. That's heavy.
And this gospel is saying we have to love those people.
We have to love everybody. That's not easy. That's why it's not preached.
Right. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
On that
Goodbye,
happy note.
everybody. See you next week.
Even though these are heavy waters, deep waters, I'm really happy to explore them with you, Laura. So thank you. And thanks for those who listen.
Thank you.
And I hope God speaks to you often and regularly.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you for joining us with these laughing mystics and these laughing moments. Look forward to talking to you next week.